All right, guys, welcome back to the DM and Friends. I am DM Angelo, and today we are continuing our look into the strange survival gear of the old school D&D with an item that is absolutely mandatory thing to buy for any character that I've ever rolled up, and that is the oil flask. You know, now to a modern 5e player, you know, an oil flask is just fuel for a lantern. You buy one, you put it on your sheet, and you track your light radius, right? You know, boring, right? Okay. But back in the day, a pint of oil wasn't just fuel. It was an emergency weapon. It was a tactical barrier. It was a lock breaker. It was basically the dungeon crawler duct tape. So let's talk about why this simple, very, very simple, greasy fluid is probably one of the most versatile tools on your equipment list. All right, so let's go back to the basics here. One of the biggest things I've always talked about regarding old school play is how you survive when your resources are completely depleted, right? So, in modern games, your characters have cantrips, and you can cast, firebolt or whatever, all day long without using a single spell slot, right? But in classic advanced Dungeons and Dragons, your low-level wizard gets only one spell a day. One. And once that's cast, he's basically just a guy in a bathrobe, and holding a butter knife, right? Magic user with knives. Well, so how did we deal with crowds? Of goblins or, giant spiders without magic, right? We used player skill and we used tools. The oil flask was was our non-magical fireball. It was cheap. It didn't require any spell slots, and anybody could throw it. Almost anybody in the group. If a cleric had no spells, left it all, which happens a lot, right? Especially in my games, right? You don't sit there and whine, right? You reach into your backpack, you pull out a flask of oil, and you change the whole tactical situation yourself. So I want to talk about a couple practical uses for oil, oil flasks. So how do you actually use this stuff creatively? And there's so many different ways, and there's no way I can cover all of them. But because it's a total game changer if you think outside of the box. So one thing that one of the main uses of it is it's an emergency weapon, right? And this is super obvious to old school. You throw a flask of oil, at a monster or at a group of monsters, and the next round someone hits it with a torch or throws a torch at it or a flaming arrow. Boom, ongoing fire damage, right? That's probably one of the most common ways that oil is used is as a hurled weapon, whether you light it first or you throw it and then light it. Bingo. Perfect use for oil flask. So another thing too, temporary barriers, right? So if you're being chased down a corridor of some sort, and you could drop it on the ground, light it, and now you have a whole fire shield in front of you or in back of you, and pour it all across the floor, and the party that's chasing you, the group of golems that are chasing you, they ain't going to cross that. So what a perfect getaway item. Next thing, burning obstacles, right? You come across a massive spider web in the corridor. Either you can use a torch or throw oil at it and light it from a distance. instead of risking you being close to it. So that's another way. And this is a way that I've seen done, kind of ingenious. So squeaking hinges, right? So, dungeons are about, stealth, right? So, if you find a massive rusted iron door, that is going to just make all kinds of noise if you open it, and scream in the dungeon, attract all kinds of monsters, put a little bit of oil on it. And maybe that will, dull the sound. So quiet as a mouse. So in one of my games, in my Hommlet Dark campaign, they were in the moat house, and the stairs going down. They went down there, saw all these zombies that started coming back. Well, they all retreated up the stairs, and there was a big a barrel of oil right there. So somebody had the great idea of dumping the oil on the stairway, lighting it, and all the zombies just started coming up and burned away. So that was an ingenious way to use oil without even having to get in any kind of melee with these zombies. And mind you, they were all first and second levels. So think about how 12 zombies against a group of 5, 6, 7 players, how devastating that would have been against them. 2-hit die zombie, every single hit is 1d8 of damage. It's enough to kill most of the party. So ingenious ways of doing that, and that's creating a barrier. So now let's talk about the problems with carrying oil, right? So and this is kind of interesting, but a lot of people probably don't think about this, but just because this is old school D&D, right? Well, because it's old school D&D, there's always a catch, right? So you're walking around the dark dungeon with 3 or 4 hanging flasks of oil. Maybe they're in fragile glass, clay, a skin of some sort, right, hanging from your belt. Well, what happens when a goblin shoots a flaming arrow? Hits one of those, right? What happens when you fail your saving throw against something that's, some kind of dragon breath or something, right? Well, back in the day, the DM would look at your sheet, right, and say, okay, roll a saving throw for that equipment, right? And if those flasks broke on your person, well, you weren't just taking damage from the monster anymore. Now you're a torch. So, it forces you to think about the physical reality of your gear. Where are you storing it, right? Are you hanging it on your belt? Are you putting it in your backpack? Is it worth the risk? So, that tension is exactly what makes, old school gaming so memorable. It turns, a simple piece of gear, right? We're calling it weird gear, but it is a simple gear for us old schoolers. It turns it into high stakes choice. So, kind of in closing here, the oil flask perfectly sums up what this series is all about, right? The Weird Gear Chronicles, right? It's a shift in how you play, right? It proves that you don't always need a magical sword or some high level character ability, the swinging goblin chandelier feat that I mentioned before, some kind of crazy feat. You don't need that to solve a disastrous, situation, right? Sometimes the difference between life and death is just a flask of oil and a good idea. So next time you're building a character, even in newer games, not just old school, right? Buy a few flasks of oil, use them creatively, and your DM will love the ingenuity, and you'll feel like a real dungeon survivor. So next week we are going to wrap. We're going to wrap into the next episode of Weird Gear, and I'll be talking about. I will be talking about marbles. This has come up in a lot of the chats that people are saying there's all kinds of crazy ways to use bags of marbles. So I'm going to dive into that and That's a piece of gear that a lot of people don't think about. So you think they're just, this crazy mundane nothing item, but there's so many different uses for that in the dungeon. So we'll talk about that next week. All right, guys. Well, this has been a blast to talk about. I think that the Weird Gear Chronicles has been really interesting, and all the feedback you guys have been giving me is awesome. The ideas of different ways of using these gear. We've talked about the 10-foot pole, talked about iron spikes and hammers, chalk, and now the oil flasks. So. Yeah, so if you're enjoying, Weird Gear Chronicles, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe. Share this with another dungeon master or player or lover of gaming. It's really, really awesome. It's really fun to be doing this with you guys. So, as always, I am DM Angelo. This is the DM and Friends. I love Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. Keep gaming, and bye-bye.